Raj brought out a very interesting point, most like a paradigm. What did you say? It was information it cannot be controlled, but organization wants to control it, right? So we have the cloud, we have mobile devices, and we have this, call it oxymoron or whatever, call it information. How do you see these things coming together, Mr. Patel?
I feel it's very important to consider security aspects of workflow computation. Well, when you talk of printers, we talk of mostly network printers. So when a network printer is installed in your LAN, it has got an IP and it is as vulnerable to outside attacks as are your servers and any other equipment. So what you have to do is that, like you give operating system upgrades to the servers to prevent them from malware and other attacks, to make them less vulnerable. You also have to take care of the printers who also have, the printers also do have an underlying operating system on which there are firmware which controls the workflow and all other applications. So you have to also take care of that operating system version on the printer and put the relevant patches so that those printers do not get vulnerable to external attacks. When you are carrying an iPhone or an iPad and accessing the printer from outside, you are definitely using the device for getting a sort of printout fired on the printer or taking some scan output from the printer. But remember, you are using the iPad for multiple things, going for public emails, seeing the YouTube music at your leisure time, and you are using the same iPad to access your office information and your purchase orders and your confidential documents. If your iPad is affected with malware and you use the same iPad to access your data inside, there is a chance that your data inside also will be attacked by the malware. So while you have got a lot of firewall and IPS and everything to protect your data within your corporate network, you also have to protect your iPads or handheld devices and ensure that when you connect, you are not injecting malware into your corporate systems. So usage of printers will have to be disciplined. When you use them in a very efficient workflow, it gives you a lot of advantage, but you also have to be disciplined so that your handheld device is also properly protected and you do not create a problem for the corporate.
Very good point, sir. Because as they say, security is as secure as the weakest link, right? And it could come from anywhere. It could be one device, right, which could cause a breach, breach anywhere. The important thing is that when we look at security with in the following way. And the first step to that is authorization, right? First deciding who is authorized, right? And that is exactly the point, which is who is authorized to do what on what device, right? So that is the first setting a policy, or setting in the process setting is a guideline. The second stage is obviously authentication, right? And that and authentication can happen on the device, either in terms of we spoke about a PIN number or a smart card or a biometric or multiple devices, and the third part is auditing to ensure that are we following what we have decided to do or set as a process is being followed or not. So at the hardware level, if you look at it, so this is at the policy level, right? So at the policy level, you decide what we want to authorize, authenticate using technology, and then obviously then you have an audit and a mechanism of feedback to ensure that you stay the course. At the technology or at the hardware level, what we look at is on the device, secure the device using the PIN printing or the smart card enabled printing. On the network, right, you can, obviously we need to have, depending upon the kind of data which is residing or flowing, it means, we need to have a policy where we need to encrypt information as required. The degree might vary, right? So different organizations, a commercial organization might have a different degree, or possibly, and CBI or any, confidential information will have a very high level of security. And the third thing is that some very basic things can be done. For instance, when we print, right, we have on the, in the device we have a hard disk, right? So a breach can happen at that level. So information which is stored there, information whether it is printed on paper or it is stored on the hard disk or it is on the network when it is flowing, anywhere it can be vulnerable. So it has to be secured at every level. It has to be secured on the network, it has to be secured inside the device, it has to be secured at the time of taking that print, to ensure that it is going only to the person who is authorized, who has authenticated himself, and then he is able to do that. And very simple things can be done. For instance, the master control, which is available on the device, it can be set that only authorized people are even allowed to touch it.
There's a password.
Password.
There's a password where you can even set in, and only the
Exactly.
user who uses it puts that password, and
The super administrator can do that. Nobody else can do that.
And there's
can be
also a monitor, I guess. I mean, there's a meter where how many printouts have been taken out. Even that can be monitored.
Can be monitored because it is tagged to an individual. The individual is belonging to a user group or a business unit or a whichever location, and there. But the thing here is that if people want to take a printout, right, we have to enable them, because that, as I said, the printed paper has its needs, and if you need that at that particular time and you are not able to get that, then you are not able to achieve that need. So when we look at printing, right, we enable all the devices to be available for printing from mobile devices, right? So I think all of us today, whether we are using a smartphone or we are using a tablet, whether Android or Apple or any device, right? All the devices can print to our printers using two technologies. One is wireless direct, in which case you can wireless directly, it seeks that wireless printer and it can print, and the other is using something called ePrint, and there are two versions of ePrint again, right? For an individual home user, ePrint is very simple. So ePrint is nothing but, I can print sending any device which can send an email can fire it. So if I want to if I want to fire a printout sitting here, somebody needs that information in my office in Gurgaon, I can just fire a ePrint from here. But for the enterprise, right, we build in a level of security, which is what we call enterprise ePrint. So what it does is that instead of going directly to an ePrint enabled printer, there's a print server in between, which authenticates that if it is coming from a particular email ID, is this user authorized to do what he is trying to do. If he is authorized, it allows. If he is not authorized, after authentication, it will.
Yeah, what you are doing is you are scaling the daylights out of it. With so much of authorization, so much of which I am sure is what organizations are looking for. Just to switch gears, you have been selling hardware for some time.
Been a long time. Last 20 years I've been into hardware business.
That's right. So do you see people looking at the imaging and scanning and printing devices as strategic to their workflow? How do they perceive?
I'll tell you, things have changed now. Previously people were going only for printers. Say, suppose if a customer wants only a laser printer. So now they want all-in-one. They want MFDs. Maybe the first question is cartridge kitne ka hai? That is the kind of level I have customers. They see what is the running cost. So I have to convince my customer that this cartridge is available at so and so price. It is readily available right now. So a few minutes back, he was telling about the availability of this consumables. So that is a major issue where consumables has to be readily available in the market. That has to be there. So that is a challenge. And then all this multifunctionals. Say I want a fax. I want an inbuilt fax in it. So I want that incorporated in my machine. So yes, MFDs have taken a place. I mean now standalone printers have given it a break.
I will add one more point that today when you fire 12 copies of a printout of a particular document, the document is 100 pages, with the intention of making them separate booklets. Today printers can not only print them, they can collect them, segregate them, spiral bind them
Yes.
and give it to you. So technology takes you to that level where you don't have to do any manual work to do that.
Those are,
These are-
but the thing is that those are very high printers and those are pretty expensive. I mean, leaving large corporates, many of them, I mean, medium, small enterprises will not afford them. So that is again a question there.
Yeah, I think I can see a lot of good things, because we are always scrambling for these kind of things. We need some documents out pretty fast, and then spiral bind it and then distribute. I just want to come back to you. You talked about mindset, people's mindset as one of the red flags or one of the roadblocks.
Yes, yes.
Do you see any other things like technology could be one roadblock itself? Do you see any other things that affects?
Technology, there is a problem that very rapidly changes technology. Yeah, and demand, suppose we think in government sector what actually happened, it is taking some time, and at that moment 1.5 years or 1 year, 2 years is already passed, and new technology is coming. This is a big issue.
I think this is a very good example of wanting to
Suppose
have.
Windows 7, people are using a start and something they think, yes, I have to use. At the same time, Windows 8 is coming.
Workflow problems, sir. So how do you address this?
So with the
For which you have a start skill is required. Because our PCs and all sorts of things.
Well, can I add?
Yeah.
Actually, today, workflow is resisted by our own discipline and mindset. Today, an accountant feels that he is an important person if he can put the check in his drawer and make the supplier come several times to ask for the check. The workflow which involves the state of paying the check immediately, the basic purpose is defeated there. So there the mindset has to change. If I have something to do it fast, do it most efficiently. So it is the mindset of human being, the organization that has to change to make really use of the technology which manufacturers are providing today. So that has to really change.
Yeah, well, really, what that's another question I wanted to ask you today. Mr. Bhattacharya just talked about the account, a typical accountant. He just took an example. Let's not generalize. And you were, talking to me about why and how RAS, digitization was implemented in 2011. That to increase transparency. So, can you briefly touch upon it?
Yes, initially, the RAS means rake allotment system. Or if we have 100 rakes and there is a demand for one day 2000 rakes. Several companies are asking for, please give me one rake. ISCO, say there is a big JSPL, there is a big industry. They have a huge demand. So to whom I have to give? There is a big issue. At that time, we have to think, we have to make a process or application software which checks all types of criteria, several types of criteria are there according to indents, supply, and there we have different types of terminals as there, loading terminals, there, unloading terminals as there, their capacity is there. So there are so many issues. There is the route capacity is there because which train goes through which route, they have the capacity or not. There is so many factors are there. That is implemented and through the softwares, and that transparency is come in the year 2011 through RAS. That is the part of the freight operation information system.
In fact,
So
what
one
you
of
have
the
done is
model of
that, in fact, what you have done is that a person who manually allocates rakes
Yes.
may make a mistake because he is not aware of the various conditions which he has to take care of.
Yeah.
So you have put all the conditions in a particular workflow
Yes.
and made the indents pass through the workflow, and the computer decides for you who is to get priority.
Yes.
So that is exactly what's happening there. And if people are accepting this sort of mechanism gradually, the workflow transformation will really take place.
Tell us, how would MFPs fit into this?
So I think coming back, the point was around technology, right? When we said, so MFPs are in any case, they're a manifestation of several technologies which are making things possible. What is the important thing here is that then, as you rightly said, Mr. Dev, that there was a supply and demand issue, there was a need for transparency,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And technology, right? Technology actually made that possible in the form of an algorithm. There are certain set of conditions which are there, so it ensures that the workflow, right, without any manual intervention, without errors, transparently made it possible. I think that if you ask me, summarizes, for us what technology is expected to do and what its limitations are. The use that we want to put it to, the purpose for which we want to use it, is the guiding principle.
But Miraj, I have got a slightly different view, being an old timer.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Earlier we used to have a printer, a fax, and a scanner side by side. Okay? To me, it takes a lot of space. 3 different people need to know, or different people need to know how to operate a fax, how to operate a printer, and how to operate a scanner. The first thing is that I feel convenient if I have got one machine doing everything. That's the most convenient part of a MFP. If you add features like sorting, collating, binding, that's
It is
icing the
next level.
cake. So MFPs are definitely very convenient to us. Apart from that, MFPs are defined and designed to take a defined load. Like if you have 5,000 copies to be printed per month, then you have a suitable MFP for that. If you have 50,000 or 1 lakh copies to be printed per month, you have a different MFP for that. Now, why and what is the advantage? If you want to print, say 50,000 pages in a month, you can deploy 50 small printers and do it. Managing 50 small printers for the same printing load is extremely difficult. But managing one printer to cater to the 50,000 printing load is very simple. You cannot control smaller printers in far as consumables are concerned, paper stationery is concerned, repair and maintenance is concerned. But for MFPs and advanced MFPs, which have got the self-diagnostic features, you can manage a printer very easily. And today, if you have a fleet of MFPs which are compliant to a particular software and operating system, then you can manage the entire fleet of printers through a single console. That's the best advantage for having MFPs and not small printers.
But there is a small problem
I
here
have a
inside.
question.
See,
From the general point of view, for the general people.
Yeah.
General people think that yes, this is printer, it works only one thing, only printing. But when 2 or more things done by the single print, they have a doubt. It works properly? No, I think not. So I have to purchase such a printer which is only printing.
Mr. Dev, there's a challenge here. The problem is the guy who comes and sells this box, he himself doesn't know what these features are of the machine. He has to himself get first educated. What are the features? How a customer should use? What are the features inside it? And so many applications are there. So that is a challenge, that one has to know that what are the features which is there.
I think, what I heard loud and clear are 2 things. What you people may, one is process is important. It is the process first and then technology. You adopt technology to the process, not the other way around. 2, technology can be overwhelming, make it simple.
And technology can make things simple.
Can make things simple.